Sean, you're never getting away from me. So, what do you think? A boy or a girl? First, I was tied up in my own home by the girl I'd spent my entire life tormenting. She'd locked me in a custom-built cage, a monument to her obsession. And why? Because after she, my childhood friend of me, Chloe Miller, shoved me down a flight of stairs, I woke up with the horrifying realization that I was just a character in a novel. The villain, to be exact. And she was the heroine, the one whose story arc required my entire family to be ruined and me to end up dead. So I did the only thing I could think of. I had my family call off our long-arranged engagement and fled, telling everyone I was eloping for love. I hid from her for 2 years, thinking I'd finally escaped the script. But 2 years later, she found me. She poured a glass of drugged whiskey down my throat, her voice a soft, cruel whisper. Sean, I got you. Sean, I hear you've been getting pretty close with that freshman from your econ class. Chloe's voice, laced with an acidity she probably didn't even notice, came from behind me. I was halfway down the main staircase in the arts building, doing my usual too cool for school slouch. I paused, turned, and leaned casually against the banister, arching an eyebrow at her. How'd you know? You got a crush on me or something? Keeping such close tabs? A blush instantly flooded her pale cheeks. She looked like a cat whose tail had just been stepped on. As if. You do nothing but torture me. Why would I ever like you? Don't flatter yourself. I smirked and leaned in closer, dropping my voice to a conspiratorial whisper only she could hear. Maybe not. But I think I'm about to get lucky with that freshman. She said she's gonna ask me out tomorrow. Pretty much a done deal. Chloe was officially pissed. She shoved my chest lightly. Don't you know she has a boyfriend? You'd be the other guy. A homewrecker. I staggered back dramatically. Of course I know, I said, unable to resist being an ass. I've got a simple policy. No strings, no promises, no mercy. Why would I turn down something on a silver platter? Stop being such a pig. I'm serious. You're a goddamn player. Her eyes were red with fury now. She shoved me again, harder this time. I was already faking off balance on the stairs. Shit. I yelled, arms windmilling. My body tilted backward, out of control, and the back of my head hit the sharp corner of a marble step. The world spun, then went black. The last thing I heard before my consciousness faded was Chloe's panicked, tearful scream. I had a long, long dream. Time rewound like a movie montage. Me and Chloe, we were childhood enemies, no better word for it. I snatched a sippy cup from her chubby hands once and drank the juice myself, then patted her cheek, more like a slap, honestly. She'd wail, run to my parents, and I'd get lectured. Then I'd get my revenge when no one was looking. In elementary school, I stole her homework, copied it, then tore it up and tossed it in the trash, leaving her to get scolded in front of the whole class. I tied her ponytail to her chair once and waited for the chaos when she tried to stand. She chased me, I ran, I laughed, I taunted her, until she finally caught me and dragged me out by the ear for a proper beatdown. Middle school came and changed things. I fought older kids trying to shake her down and got my ass kicked for it. She patched my bloody nose afterward, laughing. After that, I stopped physical bullying. Just verbal jabs, just enough to make her mad. When she got furious, she'd bite my hand like a damn puppy. Let go. I'd yelp, tapping her head. What are you, a dog? In high school, she made me buy her tampons. The whole class found out. I became a joke for a whole semester. These memories felt real. Too real. But then something broke. A flood of foreign memories crashed into my mind, like another world inside a book. Chloe Miller, heroine. Beautiful, kind, resilient. Haley Evans, the freshman. The heroine's destined boyfriend, Josh Peterson. And me, Sean Carter, the villain. The bully who gets destroyed. Family ruined. Death by jumping off a skyscraper. A stepping stone. No. I shot up in a hospital bed, gasping. Cold sweat on my forehead. Sterile smell. For in my arm. I was alive. Sean, you're awake. Chloe sat beside me, eyes red, a face full of worry. But now I only saw the truth. She wasn't just Chloe anymore. She was the heroine of my downfall. Run. That was the only thought left. I forced a discharge and left immediately. I remembered the script perfectly. Haley Evans would confess today behind the science building. I had to stop it. When I got there, Haley was already waiting, holding a pink envelope. Shaw, she started. Don't say it, I cut her off. I know. You're a great girl, but I can't. Your boyfriend Josh loves you. Go back to him. She froze. I turned and walked away. Behind a tree, Josh Peterson appeared, ready to fight. But instead, he hesitated. Confusion. Then respect. Good. Step 1 complete. From that day on, Operation Ghost Chloe. I ignored her texts. Her calls. Her presence. She didn't stop. She grabbed my arm in hallways, voice shaking. Sean, what are you running from? Nothing, I said coldly. I'm just tired of it. After everything, you're just tired of it? Cornered again. Chloe, I said flatly. Let's not talk anymore. Let's pretend we never knew each other. That broke something in her. Behind me, she stood still, then smiled faintly. A dark, possessive smile. Sean, you belong to me. I knew then, avoiding her wasn't enough. I called my father. I want to cancel the engagement. You little bastard, are you insane? I'm in love with someone else. I'm leaving. Silence. Then a heavy sigh. Fine. Take the money. Get out of Boston. I left that night for Miami. Freedom. For 2 years, I lived like I escaped fate, luxury, beaches, money, alcohol, women, noise. But back home, everything collapsed. Chloe changed. Cold CEO. Ruthless. Untouchable. But every night, she stared at a childhood photo of us. Her obsession growing deeper. Sean, you're mine. And fate doesn't stay buried forever. One day, Chloe saw Haley. Haley was holding hands with Josh. In love. Happy. Chloe froze. Her mind shattered the story she had built. So that's it, she whispered. Sean, you idiot. You let your name be dragged through the mud. You ran away. And for what? She just dumped you and went right back to her old boyfriend. You must be hiding in some dark corner right now, completely heartbroken and alone. The thought of me being cheated on, used, and abandoned sent a sharp pain through Chloe's heart, a pain that quickly fermented into a tidal wave of fury and a twisted, all-consuming desire to protect me. All her rage found its target, aimed squarely at the happy couple before her. Get them. Chloe's voice was laced with ice, devoid of all warmth. She didn't even raise her voice, just gave the cold command to her bodyguards. Beat the guy to a pulp. Don't touch her face. Without hesitation, the 2 men charged forward like tigers. Josh and Haley were knocked to the ground before they even knew what was happening. A rain of fists and feet descended on Josh. What are you doing? Somebody help. Haley screamed in terror. Josh curled into a ball on the ground, groaning in pain, completely blindsided. Mall security tried to intervene, but a single glacial glare from Chloe froze them in their tracks. Chloe walked slowly towards them, looking down at the bruised and bleeding Josh with zero pity. "Tell me," she demanded. "Where is Sean Carter?" Josh, his face a mess, looked up in pure confusion. "What? Sean who? I don't know him." Still stubborn. Chloe tilted her chin and a bodyguard's foot stomped down hard on Josh's hand. "Ack!" Josh screamed. I'll talk. I'll talk. I remember, Sean, that guy from a couple of years ago." Under the agony, the memory of the name finally surfaced. He looked at the terrifying woman standing over him and told her the truth. 2 years ago, Haley was going to ask him out, but he turned her down. He told me to get back together with her. He said he was just a footnote in our story. Josh's words struck Chloe like a bolt of lightning. She froze. The so-called rival, the betrayal, the heartbreak, it was all fake from start to finish. It was all just an elaborate lie Sean had concocted to get away from her. The elopement wasn't for another woman. It was just to put distance between them. This truth was more painful, more unbearable than any betrayal. "So, you weren't in love with someone else. You just wanted to escape me." Chloe stood there, the fire in her eyes slowly dying out, replaced by a terrifying, near-maniacal obsession. She looked at Josh, but it was as if she were looking right through him to me miles away. A chilling smile crept across her lips. "Sean Carter, you're not getting away from me." I had no idea that while I was living it up, a net designed just for me was being cast from 1,000 miles away. At that moment, I was holding court in a VIP booth at Mirage, Miami's most exclusive nightclub. A girl on each arm, I was soaking in the thumping beat of the music. "Sean, man, you're living the dream. Killing it all on your own down here in Miami," a friend said, raising his glass. I swirled the whiskey in my tumbler, the ice clinking. "You know it, bro." Finally escaping Chloe, escaping that god-awful script. These last 2 years have been incredible. Just then, a small commotion stirred at the club's entrance. A woman walked in. She wore a fire engine red slip dress that clung to every curve, outlining a breathtaking figure. A cascade of dark waves fell over her shoulders. Her lips were painted a defiant red, and her eye makeup was both stunning and wild. The moment she appeared, it was like a spotlight had found her, silencing the noisy club for a heartbeat. My friend next to me let out a low whistle. "Wah, total knockout." "You're right, man." He wasn't wrong. I'd been playing the field in Miami for 2 years, and a woman of her caliber was still a rare sight. I expected her to head to the dance floor or get scooped up by some other rich guy in a booth. But she didn't. She moved through the flashing lights and sweaty crowd with clear purpose, walking straight toward me. Every eye in the section was now on my booth, a mix of envy and admiration feeding my ego perfectly. She stopped in front of my table, looking down at me with a playful, challenging glint in her eyes. "Is this seat taken?" Her voice was a smoky, seductive rasp. "For you?" I said with a slick grin, patting the empty space beside me. "Always." She slid into the booth without hesitation, crossing her long, slender legs. I poured her a drink, thinking this was just another easy conquest. "So, you here alone?" She didn't answer. She just picked up her glass, leaned in close, and whispered in my ear, her warm breath sending a shiver down my spine. "Have a drink with me?" My heart hammered. I clinked my glass against hers. "My pleasure." I downed a strong whiskey in one smooth motion. She watched me with a faint, almost imperceptible smile and drained her own glass. I thought it was the beginning of the hunt. I had no idea I was already the prey. A few drinks later, she purred, "One more." I didn't even think. I finished another glass. But as it went down, something felt wrong. A wave of dizziness crashed over me, sharp, unfamiliar, Too fast, too strong. The club lights began to spin. The laughter of my friends sounded distant, like it was behind glass. I feel a little dizzy. I shook my head, trying to clear it, but my body felt heavy, my eyelids dropping against my will. I tried to focus on her face, wanted to ask what the hell was in that drink, but I couldn't. And in the last moments before my consciousness slipped away, I saw her face shift under the strobing lights. The glamorous makeup seemed to melt away, revealing a face I knew from the deepest, most terrifying corner of my memory. Chloe. Her smile was no longer seductive. It was cold, satisfied. She leaned in close. Sean, got you. The back of my head rested on something soft. The air smelled of lavender and vanilla. I pried my eyes open. No hangover. Just exhaustion, deep, heavy exhaustion. I shot up. I was in a massive bed inside a luxury room. But something was wrong. No windows. Black polished walls like glass. My reflection stared back at me. I rushed forward. The wall was glass. One-way glass. Cold realization hit me like lightning. I've been kidnapped. And I didn't even need to guess who did it. A soft light bloomed beyond the glass. A figure stepped out. Chloe. Silk nightgown. Red wine in hand. Smiling like she had reclaimed something precious. Chloe, are you insane? Let me out. I slammed the glass. No sound came through. Soundproof. My screams were useless. She just watched calmly, like I was entertainment. I backed off, scanning the room. Bed. Table. Food. An idea hit me. Hunger strike. I sat in the corner, refusing to eat. Time passed. I don't know how long. Then the door opened. Chloe entered, now in a business suit. Two maids behind her. You have to eat, she said softly. If you won't, I'll feed you. They pinned me down. I struggled, but it was useless. She brought soup to my lips. Open up. I turned away. She grabbed my jaw. Forced it open. Soup spilled. Naughty, she whispered. Then she kissed me. My mind blanked. She transferred soup from her mouth into mine, an act of absolute possession. She didn't pull away immediately. There, good boy. I stopped resisting. She fed me like a puppet. Later, she smiled. That room is too depressing. You'll stay in my room now. A balcony. A bathroom. Fake freedom. But bars covered everything. No escape. She installed a camera. Watched me constantly. Talked to me when she was away. And slowly, I stopped resisting. Her voice became my only company. Her obsession twisted every memory into something I couldn't recognize anymore. A month passed. I started to think, maybe it wasn't all her fault. Maybe I was the reason she became like this. Then one night, everything changed. Chloe returned from work. No smile. No warmth. Just silence. She called the bodyguards. Two men entered. My stomach dropped. What are you doing? They grabbed me. Forced me down onto the bed. Then they took out several strips of soft silk. With practiced efficiency, they tied my wrists and ankles to the bedposts, locking me in a spread eagle position. Alarm bells screamed in my head. Fear, cold and overwhelming, drowned my senses. Chloe, you're insane. Let me go. She walked slowly to the bedside, holding a small bowl filled with a dark, viscous liquid. Her face had an expression I couldn't decipher, some mix of grim determination and almost rabid devotion. Her voice dropped into a soft whisper. Sean, drink this. Then we can be together forever. Get away from me. I thrashed against the silk restraints, the fabric biting into my wrists. She ignored my struggle, grabbed my jaw, and forced my mouth open. I clenched my teeth hard, but one of the bodyguards stepped in to help her. Against the two of them, I was completely powerless. The bitter concoction was poured down my throat. I choked and coughed violently, but most of it went down. Almost immediately, a strange heat ignited low in my belly, spreading like fire through my veins. My skin turned hot. My blood felt like it was boiling, and what little rationality I had left got swallowed by a primal, overwhelming desire. The world blurred. The only thing I could focus on was Chloe's face moving closer, closer. She waved the bodyguards away. Then, right in front of me, she began removing her clothes piece by piece before lowering herself onto me. That night was a fever dream, an absurd, depraved fantasy. The next day, I woke up feeling strangely good. The tension and exhaustion that had haunted me for weeks were gone, replaced by a deep sense of release that filled my entire body. But when I opened my eyes and saw the scene, I froze. The shocking splash of red on the sheets, and Chloe sleeping beside me, cheeks flushed, breathing peacefully, it was all silent proof of what had happened. Dread, absolute and crushing, came crashing down on me. I had slept with the novel's heroine. Was there even a chance of survival now? Just then, her long eyelashes fluttered. She woke up. Seeing my horrified expression, she showed no guilt at all. Instead, she smiled with pure satisfaction and leaned in to kiss my cheek. You're awake. She sat up, the silk sheets pooling around her waist, revealing faint marks scattered across her pale skin. Then she explained last night's madness. Ever since I had eloped and broken the engagement, her parents hadn't stopped trying to find her a new match. For 2 years, she dodged them with every excuse she could think of. But yesterday, they gave her an ultimatum. They had found the perfect son-in-law from a good family, and she was ordered to meet him and finalize everything. She had a huge fight with them and stormed out. On the drive home, she thought long and hard and decided to use the most direct, extreme method possible to end all their plans. Once the rice is cooked, you can't uncook it. Hearing that she had her own pressure, that she'd been pushed into a corner, something soft inside my heart cracked open. A flicker of empathy sparked that I couldn't control. I looked at her, my mind a chaotic mess. It had already happened. She was my woman now. So screw the script. Screw the damn death flags. I'd face whatever came next. If I was going to die anyway, what was the big deal? And if I had to go, taking the story's heroine down with me didn't seem like such a bad trade. Dying at the hands of a beautiful woman? Yeah, there were worse ways to go. After that night, I decided to throw in the towel. Fighting back only brought humiliation, while submission at least gave me a sliver of peace. If you can't beat them, join them. So I changed my approach. I'd play the role of the good husband. I wanted to see what would happen if I just went along with her. They say the way to a woman's heart is through her stomach. So I started with cooking. I looked up recipes online, strode into the kitchen full of confidence, and prepared to surprise her. The surprise turned into a disaster. The steak became a hockey puck. The broccoli turned a sickly yellow. The tomato soup I managed to make was so salty it could have killed a slug. I stared at the table of what could only be called culinary biohazards, unable to even look at it. Just as I was about to dispose of the evidence, Chloe came home. She saw me in an apron, standing there guilty by the dining table, then glanced at the grotesquely colored dishes. She froze. Then her eyes lit up with a brilliance I'd never seen before. You made this? Her voice trembled with disbelief. I nodded, bracing for mockery. I expected laughter, or the housekeeper throwing it all away. But she didn't. She sat down carefully, picked up her fork, stabbed a piece of the blackened steak, and put it in her mouth without hesitation. I watched, waiting for her to spit it out. She just chewed. Swallowed. Then she looked at me, eyes sparkling, face glowing with pure joy. It's delicious. She even drank the ridiculously salty soup, not even flinching. She smiled wider. This is the best thing I've ever eaten in my life. In that moment, something inside my chest cracked. I knew she was lying. The food was inedible. But the happiness on her face, that wasn't fake. From that day on, something changed. My cooking improved by leaps and bounds, almost like I had unlocked some hidden talent. And Chloe, the domineering CEO Ice Queen, slowly turned into a woman who came home early every day, eyes full of anticipation, just waiting for my food. She'd sit at the table, chin in her hands, watching me cook like it was the most important thing in the world. She always finished every bite. And slowly, the resentment I held for being her prisoner began to dissolve without me noticing. She noticed the change in me too. And the anxiety in her eyes started fading as well. One day, she had the bedroom camera removed. A few days later, she stopped locking me in. Then a month later, she pressed a key into my palm. If you want to go out, go ahead. Just be back for dinner. I held that cold key, emotions swirling in my chest. I was being allowed outside. At first, I only went to a nearby grocery store. But it was impossible to avoid people entirely. That day, when I came back, Chloe hugged me as usual. But then she suddenly went still. This perfume, it's not mine. Her voice turned quiet, dangerous. Which woman was it? My heart skipped. It was just the cashier. I got too close, it must have rubbed off. She didn't respond. Just stared. Possessiveness in her eyes so thick it felt almost real. That night, she pushed me onto the bed and punished me with fierce, uncompromising passion, covering every trace of that foreign scent with her own. The next day, I woke up aching everywhere, gritting my teeth, cursing her in my head. But even as I cursed her, a smile crept onto my lips. Being wanted this fiercely, being someone's entire world. Yeah, it wasn't that bad. And then one day, Chloe did something completely unexpected. She didn't go to the office. She came downstairs wearing a cream-colored sundress I'd never seen before, light makeup on her face, looking soft, almost radiant. Not going to work today? I asked. Nope. She straightened my collar casually, a mysterious smile on her lips. Something more important today. I'm taking you to a wedding. A wedding? Whose? You'll see. She winked. Someone you'd never expect. At the hotel, I saw the giant wedding photo at the entrance. And I froze. The groom was Josh Peterson, the original male lead of the novel. The bride was Haley Evans, the freshman who once tried to ask me out, the girl I used as a shield. My mind went blank. What the hell was happening? Chloe watched my reaction closely. Now you see how I found out you were lying, don't you? She said softly, almost proudly. A chill ran through me as I remembered everything. She slipped her arm through mine. I saw them together at the mall. Your little eloping for love excuse fell apart pretty quickly after that. Then she added casually, they actually invited you. I blinked. They did? She pulled out my phone. I've always had access to it. I saw the invitation, and replied for you. My throat went dry. I was going to say no, but then I thought it would be more fun to bring you here. I looked at her, speechless. The idea that my fate was in her hands should have terrified me, but somehow, it felt strangely sweet. Looking at the couple in the distance, then back at Chloe holding onto my arm. It hit me. The script of this world had probably shattered the moment I fell down those stairs. The original hero was with a side character, and I, the destined villain, was with the original heroine. Maybe Haley was now the new heroine. Maybe the plot correction had shifted to her. And if that was true, maybe I was safe. Maybe being with Chloe wouldn't lead to some inevitable tragic ending. The weight on my chest finally eased. Relief washed over me. Chloe leaned in, voice teasing. So, the girl you almost had is now someone else's bride, and you're the one who pushed her away? She smiled. So what does that make you? A bad wingman, or just terrible at judging people? I exhaled, leaning closer. A huge loss, I said lightly. Should have sealed the deal first, then pushed her away. 2 soft hits landed on my chest. Chloe glared at me, pretending to be angry, but her cheeks were slightly red. You dare, she pouted. She balled her fists and tapped my chest again. You belong to me. Don't even think about cheating. I'll break both your legs. The punches were soft, totally lacking any real force. It was less of a threat and more like a kitten pawing at me, full of flirty warning. Josh and Haley's wedding felt like a declaration. The world that was supposed to revolve around them had completely collapsed, only to be rebuilt in a way I could never have imagined. Not long after, Chloe and I had our own lavish wedding. On that day, I stood at the altar watching Chloe's father walk her down the aisle toward me. She was breathtaking in her white gown, her face under the veil so beautiful it made my heart ache. In that moment, our entire lives flashed before my eyes. Me stealing her bottle, pulling her hair, her chasing me around the yard. And finally, the image of her in my prison, her eyes a mix of terrifying obsession and profound love. I thought to myself, this derailed script is pretty damn great. At the reception, our parents sat at the same table, the atmosphere surprisingly cheerful. Chloe's dad, a glass of champagne in hand, grinned like a sly fox. He clapped my father on the shoulder. You know, Carter, he boomed, I have to hand it to your family. You guys are generous to a fault. First, you shower us with gifts for the engagement. Then you pay us a fortune to break it off. And after all that, my daughter still ends up with your son. It's like you were determined to give us your money one way or another. My dad's face instantly turned beet red. He jabbed a finger in my direction. Don't look at me. It was this little punk. I told him not to do it, but he insisted. Made up some nonsense about running away. Told me to look after your family. He was practically gift wrapping our money for you. The guests roared with laughter. My mom quickly stepped in, placing a piece of lobster on my dad's plate. Oh, honey, let it go. It's a happy day. Kids will be kids. They have their little fights. Besides, we're one family now. The money is all staying in the family, isn't it? I looked at them all, a warmth spreading through my chest. Life after the wedding was nothing like I'd expected. I thought I'd have to learn the ropes of the family business. But Chloe, flexing the muscles of her original heroine template, revealed a staggering talent for it. She ruthlessly merged our 2 family empires, split the shares 50-50, and then promptly kicked me out of the office. Her reasoning, you staying home and raising the kids is the single greatest contribution you can make to this company. So I happily embraced my new role as a stay-at-home dad, fully committing to the powerful wife, trophy husband lifestyle. Time flew. Our daughter, Ellie, was already 2. One sunny afternoon, I was sitting on the floor with Ellie. She was happily digging into a small piece of cake, a forbidden treat. I scraped a bit of frosting on my finger and held it out for her. Looking at her sweet, chubby face, I began to impart my life's wisdom. Ellie, listen to Daddy. Someday when you're in school, if there's a little boy who teases you all the time, who plays tricks on you, who always seems to want you to chase him, I paused for dramatic effect. You remember this, you run in the other direction. Those boys are bad news. They'll try to trick you and lock you in their house and then gobble you up until there's nothing left. Ellie, her face smeared with frosting, looked up at me and nodded with grave seriousness. Okay, Daddy, I get it. All boys are bad except for you, Grandpa and Pop. I'll stay away from all of them, she declared in her tiny voice, patting my chest with a sticky hand to seal her promise. Mommy says no cake, but Daddy gives me cake. I love you the most, Daddy. I beamed, stroking her soft hair. That's my girl. I wonder which good-for-nothing charmer used that exact strategy to trick me, Chloe said without looking up from her laptop on the couch. She gave me a very exasperated look. Hey, I wasn't a charmer. I was a handsome devil, and not good for nothing, I shot back. Ellie immediately jumped to my defense. Mommy, don't be mean to Daddy. Daddy's not a bad man. He gives me yummy cake. Chloe laughed, a sound that filled the room. You little traitor, go ahead and eat it. Just wait until you get chubby. Then Daddy won't like you anymore. I pulled our daughter into a tight hug. Don't you worry, Ellie, I announced loudly. You could eat all you want. You could be as round as a basketball, and Daddy would still love you most of all. Reassured, my little girl snuggled into my arms and devoted her full attention to demolishing the rest of her.